G'day guys, and today I'm going to review the game which is between Geelong and GWS, and it was the Giants by 19 points. It's lockdown 6 in Victoria. Geelong losing on a Friday night. I don't think it could get much worse, to be honest, but yeah, I'm quite flat to say the least. Yeah, incredibly disappointing loss under the circumstances. Very hard to beat down at the Cattery, and doesn't happen very often. I don't think Selwa's lost too many games down the highway. Yeah, it's just crazy. I think the Giants had about 18 injuries and 8 changes, and probably their second best win in the club's history. It hurts when you're on the other end of it. So, yeah, it was just yeah, not great viewing. As my voice goes away a little bit there, but look, I don't want to get too overawed just by one poor performance. Obviously, we trace back to the Lions sort of a little bit earlier in the year where we were very well off, and I think every team's definitely had their off games. I don't think there's been a team this year where they've just looked absolutely invincible. I'm going to try and keep the whole spectrum in perspective, not carrying on over one great win or one really poor loss. So I'm going to try and keep it all in perspective. But obviously, yeah, the Cats started off reasonably okay. They really should have had 3 goals on the board so early in the piece, and that probably could have snuffed out the Giants, because once the young side gets up and about, gets a bit of a sniff, they've got a bit of swagger, they've got some guns in there. They can really make you pay, and they did. They got on a bit of a roll, kicking sort of 4 in the opening term after we dominated the first 5 or so minutes. I thought Colo Jasden kicked his first goal ever. I thought, okay, Cats by how much if Colo's kicking goals? Seemed to be on our defenders to really kick the goals for the Cats over the course of the night, as we saw. But yeah, the accuracy on goal, 8-17. We had more scoring shots, 13-6. But if you were to take a look at our shots and look at the Giants' shots, that would clearly tell you that the pressure was completely different and on opposite ends of the spectrum for both, I suppose, sides going inside 50. Geelong just always had 9,000 defenders behind the ball, or I suppose in their forward 50, so 9,000 Giants defenders in Geelong's forward 50, and the other way around, it was one-on-one. So that speaks to work rate for me. It's hard. I'm quite emotional at the moment. I'm pretty upset, and it's a horrible loss. I don't really know how to view it. We've been really good. Won, I think, 11 of the last 12, so there'll be 11 of the last 13. So we've been absolutely splendid over most of the season, and I think every side's going to have its hiccups and have its lapses in energy, and yeah, late in the season, you can get some crazy upsets. And the Giants, they're life or death at the moment. We're fighting for a final spot, where the Cats, vying for a top 2, top 4 spot. It's not going to mean as much to the Cats as it would mean to the Giants. But I still think on paper, if anyone was looking at this game, you'd go the Cats by 8 to 10 goals. So with that expectation in the game, you go in thinking Geelong will win. But then to be down by nearly 7 goals at your home deck against a side, they're playing against a Resi side that's fighting for and scrapping for a top 8 spot, that bit perplexes me. I could be really critical on it, but I'd be more critical if it was a continual pattern for next week. And once-offs, not the end of the world. And obviously, a loss late in the season can sort of shape you up. And yeah, maybe I'm being a bit optimistic. I don't want to discount what Geelong have achieved in the last 3 months. It's been an absolute grind, and another lockdown and whatnot, which is affecting all sorts of issues there. But I suppose onto the actual game, what the Giants were able to do. This review will probably go on for 3 hours. Now I've talked about just the whole preliminary bits and pieces for a good 5 minutes, I'm sure. What won the Giants the game, though, was just their ability to move the ball, our lack of pressure. Their dominance out of the contest was what was really stark, and especially for a good chunk of the game. They were able to, make us pay. I think they got 8 goals out of clearances, which is an unbelievable statistic, and we still had some decent cavalry in the midfield. Dangerfield obviously went off early, but yeah, the Giants had 18 injuries, I'm hearing, and 8 changes, and no Mumford, and yeah, half their team, Kelly and all these other guys. But that's the thing. I don't pay too much attention to ins and outs, and this is why, because and maybe undermanned sides probably usually get defeated, but if you bring the attitude and the effort like the Giants did, you'll be winning more games than you'll be losing. That's for sure. We fought back, and I knew we would. Which was nice, but 3 goals, 7. It was just so frustrating that we had our chance to probably win the game, or steal the game, I should say, late in the last. But 3 goals, 7 was it's just pathetic. You're just crying out for someone to just take the moment. Holmes missing, Clark missing was absolutely horrible. Higgins missing, and they had some good spoils. And Sam Taylor probably played the best game of his career as well. He was unbelievable, has to be said. But yeah, a lot of Giants in here, and there's probably a few players on my notepad that you'd be going, okay, if you can stop these guys, you pretty much absolutely give them no chance of winning. Taranto had to have a blinder. Whitfield had to have a blinder. Green had to have a blinder. I think Himmelberg played well also. Isaac Cumming played an amazing game. So it's just, the only players they could have leaned on just played absolute amazing games. So when their best players are playing really well, of course you're going to be up against it. And obviously a lot of the Cat stars were down. They looked a little bit out of energy. It was just very unusual watching on. I don't see many losses at home. I've probably only seen about 10 or 12 losses in the last 15 or so years down at the Cattery, so it is quite rare. And the Giants have won the last 3 against the Cats, which is just, again, crazy number. But yeah, we just weren't able to get the game on our terms for long enough. We were able to obviously fight back a little bit late. But yeah, I think our cohesion going inside 50 is probably something that really needs work. I think the last couple of weeks probably been a little bit exposed. We kicked straight against the Tigers, but yeah, we haven't really been able to give our forwards the best chance. But I don't know if our forwards aren't leading properly, or if they're not working hard enough, or if the midfield just seem to be dumping it in there. But that could be the forwards not leading up into space. And unfortunately, lack of pressure, throughout a lot of the night. We just saw GWS players just freewheeling, doing whatever they like, and they were able to repel off the back line so easily and give it to the likes of Whitfield and Cumming, who gained nearly a kilometre. Again, just more of these unreal stats. But yeah, GWS, they could go on and probably make a semi-final or even a preliminary final. They could also just as easily lose next week, because they only show up every now and again, and kind of like, some sides like the Crows are just pick and choose. But yeah, full credits to GWS. Like, they've won the last 3. I'm not sure if I mentioned before. I'm a bit all over the shop, a bit rattled, to be honest. They know how to play the Cats. So they had that ball movement going inside so often. Once they had that free, sort of possession of half back, they were able to move in on the 45, and then they just moved it quickly, and the Cats' defence was left 1-on-1, which is not usually how you see it. So, I mean, in theory, to beat the Cats is easy if you can move the ball, quite quickly. And GWS' skills were just about as good as I've seen. It was just, they hardly missed a target. They were so good with their hands in the air, and yeah, they just played a great brand, and got the Cats, and Cats definitely didn't play the way they would have liked to play, but yeah, Giants did a number on them, that's for sure. Could have probably scoreboard flatters us a little bit, and the game was probably done. But yeah, we gave ourselves a chance late anyway. Couldn't convert. But anyway, the Giants, they got more of the footy. I'm going to be scared looking at the contested possessions, because it sounded pretty drastic throughout the game. They were able to obviously move the ball. This is just, I felt like we had a lot of field position inside 50, and Chris Scott didn't seem to be too concerned last week, and Blundstone ran a pretty tricky conditions, 60 inside 50s. They 64 again, but we're just not getting bang for buck. It's 2 weeks in a row with 8 goals. So we've had 16 goals from 124 entries. I don't quite understand that. Why Geelong kicked 8-17 as well? They obviously missed a few chances and blundered a few, and GWS rushed a few, but it was the Giants' pressure. That's what won the game. They were absolutely ferocious for 3 and a bit quarters. They were just every time the Cats player had it, there was pressure. So create perceived pressure, create turnovers, and Bob's your uncle. 20, plus 20 inside 50s. That's just I can't believe that, really. Chris Scott would be pretty happy with 44 inside 50s. The only thing is, whenever GWS went inside 50, it was one-on-ones, and they had position on their man, and so many easy goals from 0 to 30 metres out. I'd like to see the goals from the Giants side. So many easy goals from, once the ball hits the ground. Stewart wasn't able to play the game he'd like to play because they moved the ball so damn quickly, and our pressure wasn't there, and that's what happens to your backline. We looked slow, we looked ordinary. Oh, gee. So, they scored nearly 50% of the time. The Cats just weren't able to generate much score inside 50. The Giants' backline was great, but we didn't really give our forwards much of a chance. We just dumped it on the heads of them and didn't really play that well on that front. We went okay in the ruck situation, but, if you get 8 goals from clearances, clearly didn't do too well. Cats definitely made the numbers look nice in the last quarter. I think they obviously got a few. What I did like is the Cats did take the game on in the last quarter, but only because they had to, which is, again, a common theme of teams. Our, not chaos, our controlled game wasn't really doing the job tonight. Giants were able to just flood back way too quickly. They worked immensely hard. I'd like to see the kilometres versus the Cats' kilometres in terms of work rate. Plus 18 in contested possessions felt like a lot more. We just got absolutely bashed up in the midfield. I don't know how that happens when you have no Hopper, no Kelly, no Green, Tom Green. Tom Green. That is. Yeah, it's just a bit bizarre. I'm a bit lost for answers. I know why we lost, but I'm still just looking at these numbers and I'm still just bemused. But that's the thing of the game. You come to play and the team's a little bit off. It's such an even comp. You can look pretty ordinary if you're 5% off and the team that's playing. Giants probably the second best game they've ever played in their lives. 29 prelim, I think would have to be their best win for sure. They were definitely not expected to beat the Pies at the G. The Cats are obviously able to mark the ball, but didn't really do too much. Got a few marks inside 50. They just couldn't really convert many in the big sticks. Giants are very straight, but had a lot of easy shots, and were left, a lot of one-on-ones. And when the Giants did kick their goals, pretty much not really much of a contest when they were. So the Cats tackled a little bit more, so they should have, or should they have? I think they were down, but didn't feel like 77 tackles. The Giants so often got out with that one broken tackle, and then they were away on a number of occasions. Now, I don't know who my votes are going to. It's going to be a very, very tough game to pick votes. I've got a rough idea, but I'm at a bit of a loss of who I might go with, but gee whiz. I'm going to have to go through the entire list. Don't think there'll be too much down the bottom. It was very, very difficult to pick. I've got some idea now. All right, cool. I've got my 3, 2, 1. 3 to Selwood. You got 27. You got 4 marks next to his name, 5 tackles. Got a goal assist in there. He tried really hard, and definitely he's played better games, that's for sure. But he's probably the one guy out, right in the source that was really prominent for us, and played a good game, I felt. So so with the 3 for mine. It's unbelievable that Stewart took 10 marks. He would not have thought that to be the case, but Two votes. Oh, I thought I had him, but then I've lost it. Thought Blitzarves was good early. Yeah, it's probably not going to college, hasn't he? Although he's very tempting. Um, I'll go Stewart for 22 touches, 10 marks. He takes the game on, that's for sure. Yeah, but again, I reckon Stewart's played a lot better games, and he's got one voters in better games than those games that he's played tonight. Make of that what you will. And then I'll go the one vote to Henry, Jack Henry. He kicked a couple of goals, 16 touches, 7 marks. Next to his name, I thought he provided a little bit of a spark, and he's a bit of a pinch hitter. Harry Taylor sort of set up going forward. Yeah, so I thought he played a good role tonight. We'll go through the rest, and Stanley got the 20 touches, 31 hitouts. So he was okay over the night, but I felt like Briggs had a really good game. So make of that what you will. Guthrie was okay, but didn't really make much of an impact on the game. Not even 100 metres gained, as a matter of fact. But yeah, Guthrie's definitely had better games. Everyone was just a little bit off, as we can sort of see by the statistics. Look at that. Taranto, Cumming, and Whitfield got 102 disposals between them. That's just not good. Not good reading, that's for sure. Menegola was, yeah, again, he was okay, but he's down off of his best. Cole Jasny was nearly worthy of a vote. He kicked his first goal ever, so well done, Jake. It took 120 plus games to get the job done, but yeah, he got 20 touches, 10 marks. I think he's been better as the season's gone on. Pierce was nearly worthy of a vote as well. He played okay. He got 23. He was bouncing and rebounding off halfback. Tui kicked a goal from outside 50. Got 18, but he was sort of held. Clark, I don't think you should bother playing AFL ever again, mate, with misses like that. So crucial, and yeah, he just doesn't do enough for mine. It makes me speechless. That's what he does. Blitzarves got a 50 and kicked a goal. I felt like he was okay early, but sort of went out of it a little bit as the game wore on and sort of came back to life in the last quarter, as a few of the Cats did. Higgins got 21, didn't really hurt the opposition too much, but gave us some forays forward. Parfitt was solid throughout the night, I felt. He always cracks in. Zach Guthrie, probably not the same standard as last week, and he was never going to probably have the same game this week around, but he did a reasonable job. Holmes, obviously a very young player, and does a little bit of dash and whatnot, but just don't put him anywhere near the forward line. He can't kick straight. He's kicked 1 goal, 7. Sorry, Maxie, but I'm sure on the training track it's all good and well, but you've kicked 1 goal, 7, so you're clearly probably not a forward line operator. But anyway, that's all early, and I'm pretty emotional at the moment. Hawkins he's had some baths this year, and sometimes he looks like $1 million, and other times he looks like a scrap heap. So he battled hard, as he always does. He kicked a goal, but yeah, Sam Taylor was clearly best on ground, and he just needs to be better. And probably being able to nullify the impact of defenders and just be a bit harder to play on. He's a bit, once he doesn't get it on his terms, he's very easy to beat. Kruger, he was solid. He had 6 tackles. He really cracks in hard. So I've liked Kruger in the way he's gone about it. 8 touches, 6 tackles. Good on him. Sav was okay. He kicked a couple of goals next to his name, which was good. Plucked a few grabs. So again, look, that's handy from Sav. We do need more from him, and Cameron will replace him next week, I'm sure. I hope so. Stanley shouldn't be leaving anytime soon. Dalhouse battled away. He grabbed a few nice marks, and he laid some good pressure and gave off to some running, dashing players. Narkle was pretty quiet. Medical sub for Dangerfield. Dangerfield going off was not really ideal. Close probably had one of his worst games in his career, really. He just couldn't get in the game. He laid a few tackles, which was good. That is the tackle area. But he just never really looked lively. Couldn't get in the game. Haynes, the Giants' backline just... I mean, yeah, there wasn't really anyone up forward that could put their hand up and say they've had a good game. Dangerfield, I think that's minus 13 metres gain, so good on you, Paddy. He got the 3 touches, but then obviously tackled Green and then went to hospital, so hope Paddy's okay. Rowan was very, very quiet and then got injured. Yeah, so unfortunately for Gary, might be a hip injury. Hopefully he's okay. Yeah, I think he had to go on just so they had extra presence up forward. So that was unbelievable. I've said unbelievable a few times. Take a shot every time you hear unbelievable. Yeah, so the Cats it'd be hard to see them drop out of the top 4, but never say never. They've got to obviously win at least another game or 2 here. They've got the Saints at GMHBA next week, and you could nearly put your house on this. Gamble responsibly, and I'm not here for financial advice. I'm here to review the Cats, but yeah, the Cats should win, and win well against the Saints. We'll see how that goes. See if Max King kicks 1 goal, 5 again, and yeah, well then the Saints will definitely take the game on. The blueprint to beat the Cats, if you watch the Lions game and you watch the Giants, which the Giants clearly have learned how to beat the Cats and execute it to perfection. So, yeah, look, Cats don't lose 2 in a row very often. Get Jeremy Cameron back. Yeah, and Mitch Duncan maybe in a couple of weeks. Maybe Ryan Myers might come back soon. We'll see how that all goes. But, yeah, hopefully Rowan is on the lower end of the spectrum with his injury, and we'll see what happens. Yeah, and then we got the D's after that. Cats don't lose 2 in a row very often, so I expect them to get the job done. I also expect them to get the job done this week, and they didn't. But it was the Giants by 19 points in what was probably one of the upsets of the year. Probably one of the upsets of the decade, really, with all the talent and personnel they had out. And, they've won the last 3 against the Cats. They just know how to beat the Cats. Bit of a bogey side all of a sudden. So I'm pretty gutted, has to be said. So, hopefully respond back next week. I thought after a big week, work-wise, and another lockdown, and cool, hopefully the Cats get the job done. And, yeah, looks like no good. No good. All right, guys, well, I'll go cry myself to sleep, I think. And hope you enjoyed the review. Hope you enjoyed my saltiness. And take care in this very difficult time for Australia, Victoria, New South Wales, any state really at the moment. So, yeah, just take care and look out for your loved ones and check in with them, because now is the toughest time more than ever. So, yeah, take it easy, guys. Thanks for listening to the review on a tough loss for the Cats at the Cattery, and more, just more heartache. Well. I hope you enjoyed, guys. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe away, all that good stuff. Thanks for listening in, and I'll see you in the next video.